Alright, hey guys, this video is going to be just to give you a little explanation of the extra credit videos. So over here in the discussion board, you have introduce yourself, you have order of operations, and then you have this extra credit video. Now here there's a series of 4 videos. I think they're really good to watch. Please do it early. I think you will enjoy them. But if you're not a math person, or even if you are a math person, the first 2 may be hard to follow. The whole goal is not for you just to have to follow every single thing they're doing, but it's just to kind of drive a few points home. And I want to explain a little bit of that here, either before you watch it, or you can do this after you watch it. Either way, it will help you out. So in math, I want you to understand that math is basically a set of rules and laws that you must follow. For example, if you drive a car, you know that you must put gas in the tank. If you put anything else in the tank, the car won't run. And so, just like math, there's certain things you can do, and there's things you can't do. Okay, one of the things that you cannot do is divide by 0. Okay, if you put anything divided by 0 on the calculator, for example, if I do 4 divided by 0, it's going to tell me undefined. Okay, you cannot do that. It's undefined. It's a rule, and there's a guy, Eddie Wu, that does a really good job of explaining this division by 0. I will post that link later for you to view. He's also in several of these videos. But I'm going to do a proof and show you. Now, while I'm here, I also want to show you, if you do that free calculator download, which I've also done it, when you first open it up, it looks really big. If you just hit this square to make it full screen, then it opens up the calculator. And I think from there, you might be able to size it a little bit. Okay, just going to show you. If I do 4 divided by 0 and hit enter, it says error divided by 0. It doesn't know how to do that. So anyway, just trying to drive that point home. So remember that you cannot divide by 0. So in that first video, the guy does a proof. He does it different. It's harder because he does it with variables. But I'm going to do that same proof with numbers. So just follow line by line and see if you can find the mistake. So I'm going to start out with something that's true. I'm going to start out with 0 is equal to 0. And this proof is going to show you that 2 plus 2 equals 5, which I hope you know that 2 plus 2 is 4, but I'm just showing you that we broke a rule somewhere. Okay, then I'm going to rewrite 0 as 4 minus 4. On the other side, I'm going to write it different. I'm going to write it as 10 minus 10. Okay? Now, I'm going to rewrite the 4 minus 4. I'm going to rewrite it as 2 squared. I'm going to do the same thing with the other 4. I'm going to write it as 2 squared. And the 10s, I'm going to rewrite them as 2 times 5. Now, if you follow this line, it's still 0, because order of operations, you do exponents first, so that's 4 minus 4. Over here, you have to do multiplication before you subtract, so that's 10, you still get 0. Alright, now there is a form of factoring called the difference of squares. Whenever you're subtracting 2 perfect squares, you can factor like this. Now whether you believe this or not is irrelevant. You can still check it and see that it's equal to 0. So you can factor this as 2 plus 2 and 2 minus 2. Alright, so parentheses first. This is 4, this is 0. 4 times 0, because you multiply, is still 0. Anytime you multiply 0 times a number, you get 0. Over here, I'm going to factor out a 5. They both have a 5 in there. I'm going to pull that 5 out. And then in parentheses, I'm going to leave the 2, and then the minus, and then the 2. And again, you can check to see that this equals 0. 2 minus 2 is 0, times 5 is 0. So everything is still 0 on both sides. Now, notice what we have on both sides. We have this 2 minus 2, we have this 2 minus 2. So I'm going to divide and cancel that out. So I'm going to have 2 plus this cancels out on both sides. And what do we have left? 2 plus 2 equals 5. Okay, so what's wrong? Okay, obviously something is wrong here because 2 plus 2 is not equal to 5. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So obviously somewhere along this process we have made some mistakes. Well, we've checked everywhere, 0, 0, all the way down, and then we cancel out. So what do we do when I cancel out? Canceling out is another way of saying divided by. You see that long bar we divided? Well, what did we divide by? 2 minus 2. And what is 2 minus 2? 0. We can't do this. This step right here is incorrect. It looks correct because you're so used to canceling out, but you got to understand you can't divide by 0. And that's what I started talking about in the very beginning. You can't divide by 0. Because when you do, you get all kind of crazy things that don't make sense, like 2 plus 2 is 5, which you know is not true. So the first video basically does something like this, where you have to catch that we divided by 0 and made a mistake, which you cannot do. The second video, which is I think a little bit more interesting, but you may not be familiar with what's going on there. I think it talks about factorial. Now you may not have seen factorial in math. If you've done some statistics, you would have seen it, but maybe not. So here's what factorial is. I'm just going to say 4 factorial, for example. Now that's an exclamation point, but in math it's called factorial. The way that works is it does 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. You just start out with whatever number you have and you multiply all the way down until you get to 1. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24 times 1. You get 24. Now I'm also going to show you that on the calculator, just in case you don't believe me. This calculator can do factorials. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to clear out what I had. I'm going to type this number 4. I'm going to go to math, and then I'm going to arrow over to probability. I'm just going to arrow back, and probability is highlighted, and then you see this option number 4 has that exclamation point. So I can just hit 4, or I can scroll down and hit enter on that. So if I hit enter, it just shows me 24 because it's doing that automatically. Okay, so now the second video seeks to explain another important rule. So again, learning patterns and things in math. What do you think 0 factorial is? Well, of course, if you follow what's going on, you would just think that, hey, that's just equal to 0. But that's not correct. Okay, 0 factorial is equal to 1. Okay, now, why is that? I think it explains it in that video. You'll have to watch it. I'm not sure if he does the factorial definition or if he does it with exponent, because you also have this case that seems weird. If you have 4, or any number really, to the 0 power, that is also equal to 1, which seems strange because if you do 4 to the first power, that's 4, and if you do 4 squared, that's equal to 4 times 4, which is 16, and then you keep going. So why is 4 to the 0 equal to 1? So both of these were just things I accepted because they were told to me. Well, I want you to understand why. And so if you watch that second video, he explains one of these. And if he explains one, I think you can understand the other with the same method. And then the other 2 videos are not so math heavy. They're more TED Talks and just kind of give you a broader perspective of math in the world, you know. Not just learning it and regurgitating formulas, but it teaches you some things out in the world and other ways to handle it when it gets hard or it's difficult and you feel like you can't do it. So anyway, I hope this helps in explaining the extra credit videos. Again, please watch them early. I think it'll motivate you and give you some encouragement. Watch them multiple times. But if you reply to it, you will get plus 10 points on your final exam. If you have questions, again, please contact me, let me know. I will help you whenever.